he didn't. So once he asked us like what his name was, we didn't have anything to like give him, so we just said Motorcycle Randy. So
I love
that's
it.
what he goes by now.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to read a letter that came in. We're kind of in the wake of the tragedy that happened yesterday as we taped the show in Boston during the marathon, and we're going to read a letter that came in from GK Girl, who is a Boston girl. Actually, who would like to read this letter? I hear enough of my voice. Ryan?
You know I'm always open to talking, Weezy.
I do.
Weezy, Boston. My home was bombed. I know I'm safe and I know it's over. In fact, I'm not even there right now. I'm on vacation. But it's just terrifying to think that the streets I've walked so many times before are now covered in blood. And people I call my neighbors are gone because of some stupid person who thought it would be a good idea to blow up the streets of Boston. How could this even happen? It's just so incomprehensible. It's so stupid. What kind of psycho could do this? Boston is the most beautiful city and I love it so much. And now it will never be the same. I guess it's not much of a question, but I wanted to get some peace of mind. I mean, it's my home, and I just don't get it. Why Boston? Why not anywhere else? I don't mean to sound selfish or rude, but I hope you can see my confusion. I guess I kind of needed to get that out, rather than ask a question. But maybe you could tell me where to go from here. What happens next? I mean, there's a terrorist on the loose, and neighbors in pain. What do I do now? Okay, sorry, I'm done rambling now.
All right, so I answered the letter in the app, and I told her that the first temptation when something horrible happens is to ask why. Why did this happen? Why would someone do this? Why did it happen here? Why did it happen to us? Why did it happen? Do we need to stop the show? Okay. Why did it happen on our turf? Why? And why kind of like leads you in this sort of like just loop of despair. And what we do know for a fact is that since the dawn of time, there have been crazy people who have done horrible things. And that's not about to stop. It's horrible that it happened in Boston in your backyard. But there's always a billion more good people in the world than there ever are crazy bad people. And there's always like a billion miles more love in the world than there is hate. And so what you're going to see in Boston is you're going to see so much love pouring out of every crack and crevice that it will completely overwhelm you. Because that's what people do when something bad happens. People show their goodness. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, the thing you gotta do is you have to work with those people around you who are also having the same type of feelings, and show sympathy for everyone that was involved, and anyone who knows anyone that was involved, or if you know them, and just let it bring you guys together. And instead of dwelling on why it happened or how it happened, move on to what you can do now after it's happened. But
right, for sure, the tragedy is real, and lives were lost, and limbs were lost, and it's horrifying. But we cannot let one bad person destroy us, our lives, or the fun that we have, the events that we create that are meant to be joyous. And the irony being that just as people are crossing a finish line, of a grueling 26 miles, punishing. I mean, Boston Marathon has like this uphill portion that just absolutely just smacks you. And these people, including like a 78-year-old man that you see in one of the videos, yards away from the finish line, and this happens. It's unimaginable, and yet it happened. But everybody who was there celebrating that race and everybody who ran in that race isn't that person who set off that bomb. And just like if there's one bully in a school, everyone needs to rise up and say, this stops. We're not doing this. They may sometimes catch you by surprise, these bullies, and they do exist, and they're not about to go anywhere, but they will never defeat us. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, a teacher at school made an announcement today, and he said that the real tragedy would be if we let it affect us in the sense that we don't connect anymore and we don't go and participate in things like marathons, and it's that's what the tragedy would be. And so you need to let
it's not going to happen.
Exactly, it's not going to happen. But like you have to build on what you have. I don't know. Does anyone else have any ideas, thoughts?
Any thoughts for GK Girl?
I think, and that is the bully that rises up and surprises you, is literally just that. It's just is a bully, and that is where terror and the word terrorism finds its root. Is that it's this idea of one person
who makes you scared,
making everyone scared to do what, and so I think that in my lifetime, and I'm much older than the people who are listening to this probably, but I've had more of these conversations where after a terrible tragedy happens, the next day I call my mom or my dad and I'm talking to them about, wow, can you believe that happened yesterday? And the frequency of those conversations has happened more and more. But the thing that is important, I think, is what you said at the very beginning, Weezy, is that like the idea that the love that's being poured out and the kind of the understanding, the affection from the people in Boston towards each other, not
from the people around the world towards Boston.
Towards Boston,
I've seen every country, every city in the world, with memes that are going around saying we're behind Boston, from Dublin, from every corner of the world.
And what I think is also important for us to understand is that outside of the United States, this type of activity is very commonplace in lots of people's lives. In other countries, this happens, and we need to never forget those people as well. And like
That's a good point.
That idea of love and like understanding, because I'm at the age where I was very influenceable and of age to understand what was going on during the 9/11 attacks. And then, I've seen this, I'm just thinking very recently now, was like Newtown, and then there's this Boston. All these awful things are happening, and politics aside, what is going on, we can all diagnose as just tragic and terrible. And so inside of that, we have to remember to never forget in a weird way. I know that it's become such a mantra, like, never forget, but like you get to a point where it's like people tend to let things kind of die down inside them, and they forget to keep that loving spirit and that dispensing that kind of affection and that like understanding to everyone. And this is happening to people all over the world, so we need to maintain that. We need to find a way to kind of keep that going.
The love, yes, exactly. Yes, Kyo.
I wanted to say that looking for a reason probably isn't going to help, because really there is no reason, and any reason that you can find, there's nothing that's going to make you feel good, It's not going to be like, oh, this happened because of this. It's just going to hurt yourself to try and find some reason. I think you should just accept that there's no reason for it, and it's kind of just tragic and a sad thing.
There's no reason other than a mentally disturbed person,
right,
or misguided anger or rage did something horrible.
And that goes back to what you said at the very beginning, is since the dawn of man, there's been drastic, crazy people
who do things for no reason.
All right, I think we've got a phone call. Who's there? Legit Taco. Hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you guys?
We're very good. Did you want to talk about the tragedy?
Well, I'm going to try. I have good news. Your app got over 100 users.
Okay, did you screen cap that, baby?
I actually got to 101.
Okay, so you got to screen cap it because I'm busy doing my show. You got to do my work for me. You work for me now. Okay? You can clock in and then clock out.
Is it okay if I send it to your OP Gmail?
Yeah, or you could just put it on Instagram and put at Our Place Network so that I see it.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks for doing that, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that and for, getting your grandma and everybody to sign in. I appreciate it. I'm sure she'll enjoy the app. Especially the One Direction section.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I hear she's very into Harry. So did you have a question tonight, or did you want to help us with the next question?
I can help with the next question.
All right, so here it is from Fallen Beauty. My mom is always yelling at me in public places, and half the time it's not me do the stuff. I don't know what to do anymore, and I really don't want to talk to her. What should I do? So she's getting yelled at in public by her mom. Has anyone had this experience, or does anyone have any advice, including you, caller? Go ahead, Ryan.
I mean, I haven't really shared this experience, but I mean, the first thought that came to mind is just, I think a lot of times when people are yelled at, including myself, it just makes it hard to learn, and you kind of get in this like defensive mode, and you kind of want to block things out. And when someone can like come up to you and be like, hey, that's not such a great idea, then it's more of like a, oh man, you're looking out for me, like thanks for that. So like if my parents were doing that to me, which they haven't in a while, but they they did when I was younger, I had the skill set then, it would have been best for me to say like, Mom, like it'd be really helpful if you just kind of talk me through how I can do these things better.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it's a good idea to say something to your mom about how, maybe when you were younger, you just kind of went along with that and it made you cry, and but now that you're an adolescent, it's really humiliating and embarrassing on a whole different level. And you could pull her aside whenever things are calm and just say, hey, I understand that you get frustrated with me, but if you could pull me around a corner and just say to me, please don't do this or please don't do that, so that everybody doesn't have to hear. And, because the same rules apply in the workplace or anywhere, at a family gathering or whatever. You never really want to open up a mouth at a person in front of other people. It's always going to be humiliating. It would be humiliating if somebody did that to your mother. So why exactly is she doing that to you? And maybe you can just hold a mirror up very gently and respectfully and just say, I would appreciate it if you would stop doing this. Kyo.
I just want to stress that you should do it at a calm time,
right,
and not be hostile in any way, because if she's yelling at you for no reason, chances are she's going to take up like whatever chance she can get to raise her voice or whatever she can do. So make sure you keep calm and everything. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say that, on top of that, we talk about it a lot on the show, making an I statement, and make sure this is an I statement instead of, you embarrass me, you make me feel bad. This is what I need from you. This is what can help me along. This is how I can feel better and not be embarrassed. What do you think, Sio?
Well, sometimes when my mom yells at me, I mean, she generally doesn't because she's passive-aggressive, which is super annoying. But I think of, like, someone or something that I'm looking forward to or that I know will always have my back or, like, I'm on good terms with or something good that happened. So while she's yelling at me, I have this, like, comforting thought of something that I like. So it's not as bad for me.
I like
That's
that.
how I
It's
deal
like
with it.
a mind meld. Pudding. Pudding will always love me back.
We know that Weezy loves pudding now.
They'll always love me.
A couple things. Number one, I think when I was growing up with and living with my parents, that my definition of me not doing anything and getting yelled at and my mom's was really different. And a lot of times, if you had asked her, like, is he doing something? She would probably very clearly and verbally be able to tell you what it was I was doing. So it wasn't a matter of her being irrational. My mom was actually yelling at me for something she thought I should not be doing. The other thing, though, that I saw my mom do with her own mother, and this is how it worked out in our household. My grandmother would come down on my mom about something and be yelling at her, even in their adulthood, and my mom would diffuse it by looking at my grandmother and very sincerely saying, you know what, you're probably right. And it caused my grandmother to kind of step back and just be like, well, yeah, yes I am. Yes, I am right. But that was like how my mom diffused it, and she had learned that tactic, and that's how it worked with her mother. You're probably right. And so when my mom would yell at me one time, I remember I stopped and I went, you know what, Mom, you're probably right. And that was enough because she knew that that's what she said to her mother to make her go like and it put an end to a ton between me and my mom as far as like just, like nitpicking.
Thank you so much for calling. We're gonna jump off the phone and free up the phone line, but thank you so much for the screen cap, and we will be seeing you in the app. Okay, honey?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk
Bye,
to you
legit.
later. Before we go on, one tiny point, and then it's time.
Tiny point.
Then it's time to interview Clinton.
It's time.
All right.
Okay.
Make your point.
So another thing that also works, you probably shouldn't do this, but if you look at your mother right in between her eyes, so you don't have to make eye contact with her, it's like it really helps like calm you down because then it's like, oh, I'm talking to your forehead right now. Big threat.
It also works with like horse whispering and
Well, if I think I'm talking to a forehead, I've got some real issues to like work out. If I can hear the forehead,
But you're not upset.
then that solves everything, right?
Yeah.
All right,
better than a 5-head, right?
That's true, exactly.
All right, so our guest in the studio is Clinton Pickens, who I met doing stand-up comedy, but Clinton, stand-up comedy often leads to other careers, correct, Clinton?
For many people, yes.
And so how did you start at stand-up?
Well, I was that that guy in junior high and high school that needed loads of attention, and I think I was voted class clown when I was in senior in high school, and then in college I went into I did a sketch comedy group that was very kind of like broke B team Monty Python. We had lots of fun, and after I moved out here, I was really bored for a month, and I started going to this place called the Comedy Store on Sunset, and actually,
Were you 21? You have to be 21 there. There's no food. Don't
at the
go
time,
hungry.
you did not have to be.
Really?
There was even like, and actually, you mentioned earlier that I met you through Taylor.
Okay.
I met you before that, but the first time I officially met you was with Taylor.
Right.
But before that, I remember seeing you once or twice at the Comedy Store.
I would just bring the place down.
I mean, that's what I saw you as I was dodging like rafters that were just falling.
Oh, it was just you know, there was such a to-do about me that people from across the street at the House of Blues would come
Yeah.
over. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a town in West Texas called Abilene.
Abilene. That's all I know of that song.
Prettiest town that I've ever seen. That's it. That's the song.
People there don't treat you mean in Abilene.
That's it.
Bye.
You guys
And who sings
have
that song?
no clue. Carly Rae Jepsen. She sings it.
Carly Rae.
I don't know.
Just before she asks for people's number.
I thought you
Which
were
is-
serious for a second
You
there,
know
and I
what,
was
if
really
a-
thoroughly confused.
If a boy sang that song, "Here's my number, so call me maybe," it'd be creepy. I think a girl
It is
can play-
actually,
a
in
girl-
fact. I've
yeah.
done it, and
You've
never
tried it.
It's never received well.
Never.
Never received well.
So you moved out here from Abilene, Texas.
I did.
And so there's still people that back there at Abilene going, "Gee, I wonder if Clinton is going to be on, the Jimmy Show tonight."
They all sound like George W. Bush in Abilene, Texas. Yes, there is. Actually, interestingly enough, it's the only place in my life where I go where people suggest to me, and I love Abilene, I love my hometown, but it's the only place where I go where people say, like, you know what you should do? Conan. I'm
Like you haven't
what?
thought of
They're
it.
like, you should do a spot on Conan.
Hold on, let me get a pen. Let me write. These are gems.
Oh, this is gold.
This is really
Why didn't I think of this? You know what else you should do? Just be famous. Go.
Do they have a career counseling center? Because I am signing up.
My
all
best
really good
friend in junior high, his mom was our career counselor.
All right.
Yeah, and she was awesome. I remember like her sitting me down and telling me like, you do not test well and your scores are not great. And
Clinton, you should be in sales.
a lot of people told me I should be in sales, but
You're a people person.
she actually just told me to go for it. She was like,
Really?
you should just go for it because
I love that.
you're not going to be happy if you don't.
Any questions for Clinton about how to go for it? Because Clinton's going for it.
Have you gotten it?
No,
What's
you never do.
Just keep going for
There
it.
you go.
Yep.
But
But you get a lot of acting auditions. You've been in commercials. I'm watching TV and I'm like, there's Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on.
I've had a lot more success with commercials thus far than I have with TV.
You can sell items. That face.
I can sell stuff. People trust a ginger beard. You know
They do?
They
They love it.
they want to buy Wendy's cheeseburgers from this.
Once Billy Mays passed on, they tried to find someone to fill a spot, and
Right.
it just wasn't doable, by anyone else. But I'm thinking maybe you could
You
be
think
that
I could
guy.
do it?
You
I
have
think you could be
to-
that guy.
That guy was so energetic.
Oh.
And crazy.
And
Hi,
then he died
Billy
of
Mays.
cocaine, so surprise.
He died of cocaine.
I thought a shelf fell on his head.
A shelf full of cocaine. A
died of
giant, a giant cocaine shelf. He was putting too much on the shelf, and it just crushed him.
Wait, but he actually died from just.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That's insane.
You can be too amped, it turns
Yeah,
out.
it's possible.
Apparently so.
I mean, the woman in Australia, didn't she just die from energy drinks?
Careful, kids.
You got to be careful with the energy
All you
drinks.
need is just the one cup of coffee.
You got to understand the thing
That'll
about energy drinks is like, let's stuff
Coffee
this. It's like, yeah, they can say that they're using natural ingredients, which half the time they aren't, and then they don't say it. But like, they're basically like, your body has a certain amount of energy, and if you're tired, you should sleep to get more energy and
tree
relax.
bark is a natural ingredient. It doesn't mean that you should ingest pounds of it.
Well, yeah, that too. That's
So
too,
true.
but- that too. But like,
Too much of anything is a bad thing.
exactly. But if you're tired, sleep. Like that's what you got to do. You got to relax. You got to sleep. That's what your body naturally does. Like drinking stuff that's gonna like amp you up is not what your body needs.
And no one your age should be drinking energy drinks.
Yeah.
You guys you're in your prime. You guys should be like just energy.
You should be energetic.
Like I need them and I don't drink them because I'm
Thank you.
brilliant.
But you sell them.
But
All
I
right,
sell
we're
'em.
going to read. Oh, do we have a caller, Matt? Oh, surprise!
Anna Megan.
Our favorite caller. I'm going to write a song for her because we have to give her time limits because she needs her own podcast. Yeah. How you doing, girl?
Good. Well, kind of. I'm actually terrified right now.
Oh, God. You are a soap opera. What are you terrified of?
Okay. Well,
but whenever you say
my friend on
okay,
my phone.
it's like everyone has to go, all right.
Buckle your seatbelts.
Pull up a chair. All right. Okay. 60 seconds?
I was texting my friend on my phone.
Right.
And all of a sudden this random number comes in, and I had no idea who it was. Like, even the people who I know will just pop up as random numbers. Like, I have their numbers memorized in my head. Like, I know what they are, and it was none of them.
Right.
And I'm really freaking out now because they started saying, like, really creepy things. Like, it was just, like, really scary.
Right, but it's probably a wrong number. So
I told my parents, and they're like, okay, so my dad, he just put the police have been notified or whatever, but I'm really, really scared because we tracked down the number, and it's, like, in the neighboring town or whatever, and it's, like, not very far away.
They don't know where you
and
live.
I'm really, really scared.
There's no way there's absolutely no way for them to know where you live based on your cell phone number.
And it's very likely it could also be a prank text from a friend's friend. That happens.
Yeah. What you should do is you should go to Google Earth and pan up from your house just to see how many households there are within your neighboring neighborhoods. They will never find you. Ever, ever, ever. That's 3 evers, which is almost as many as Taylor Swift uses in her songs.
I'm worried if this person's been, like, stalking me or something because they knew my name.
Oh, Jakey's hand is up?
No. Ryan stole my point.
They were like...
Yake.
Okay, hold on, Anna Megan.
I was really scared because I'm worried that they've been like stalking me for like days
Jake's
now
gonna talk.
or something.
Jake has a very calming
point.
Jake,
I don't know it
you have a very
like
calming
that,
voice. Start talking.
Yeah.
I have a very calming voice, apparently.
Yes,
so,
you do.
So does Morgan Freeman.
Thank you for that,
Andy
Ryan.
Dufresne.
Ryan stole my point, so I have no longer a point.
What was it? I was probably talking over him.
It was, someone's probably just messing with you. No one who's creepy just texts random numbers. That's a horrible way to find people to be creepy with. You actually have to actively go out in public to interact with people because you can ignore a text message. No one who's creepy would do that. So don't worry. Someone is probably messing with you. You're going to be fine.
Someone is messing with you with someone else's phone. Ignore it. Go ahead, Keo.
Also, if they were really being creepy, then they wouldn't be so stupid as to be found by the tracking device. I mean, if you're like an actual stalker, then you're gonna do something about that, trying to creep on you.
And there's this website where you can put in phone numbers that are being obnoxious. Maybe in California, I don't know if it's everywhere, but I went to block a phone number of a telemarketer. I was with my cousin Trish, and we were trying to block the phone number, and then it said you can also report. And I'm like, all right, because my phone stores like 25 numbers that have come in. And I'm like, all right, these are the people that have woken me up to ask me, about my car insurance plan in the past month. And I just reported 3 numbers of people that had just been annoying me because I could tell which ones they were because they came from out of state. But the point is, you can go online with your parents and find a place to report a number that is abusing you, and they will. Go ahead.
We tried that, and all of the only places we could find were in places like California and Florida, and places in America.
Okay, so there's no do not call list in your area? Because I started by googling do not call list.
So
I just wanted to make sure that my phone number was on the do not call list because all of a sudden I started getting a lot of telemarketing calls, and in the do not call list website you can report.
Oh yeah, we have a do not call list, but no one listens to it.
Oh, all right. Well, sometimes those websites let you report numbers that are calling you when you have not asked to be called. And you could report this phone number. All right, we're going to have to jump off with you, but close your eyes, go to sleep. You are fine. Nobody knows where you are. We are Our Place Out Loud. I am Louise Palanker here with a wonderful panel of insightful teenagers. We have Sio, Kiamute, Ryan, Maddie, Jake, and in the studio is our guest Clinton Pickens, who's one of the smartest redheads I've ever met. It turns out they're just as smart as regular people.
It's true. It's true.
Wow. So he's one of the smartest people you've ever met.
Yeah, absolutely. 888-531-7171. And the way that Clinton and I bond on the comedy circuit is we're normal. and there's only a handful.
There's a lot of dysfunction out there.
Oh my goodness! And Clinton has told me some stories of people that he's ridden to gigs with, and it's, whoo. He's a good guy to pull aside and say, "Tell me a story, Clinton," and he will. Oh no, it was about someone that we all know.
I don't know that I can.
Somebody was partying and driving, and the cops got wind of it, if you will, and Clinton had to talk some reason into the cop and you had to go to court and defend yourself.
I talked myself out of $1,500 worth of tickets.
Yeah, because Clinton was doing nothing other than being the passenger in this cloud of smoke car.
But I had a awful passenger who verbally harassed the police after I was at the wheel. I was fine. I was actually a designated driver.
Oh, you were the person driving.
Yeah.
Oh, so your passenger harassed
and my
the police.
passenger was very intoxicated.
Very intoxicated.
And belligerent.
And the best part of the story is at the end of his court day, someone came up to Clinton. I think
the
judge. You tell it.
Basically, I went. I got a little too prepared because I was scared of all the tickets that I had to pay. And so I got a haircut and put on a suit, and I got one of those metal pointers that you can extend, and I blew up these giant pictures of the Google Earth of this intersection where the incident in question was, and I often during the court I would ask the court reporter to read stuff back that the officer had said. I accused the officer of purging himself. The judge at one point told me just to settle down. I think he said simmer. He was like, just simmer down, and then. After it was all over, whenever they kind of didn't throw any of the charges at me and they threw it all out, the judge came to me and was like, I think it's not too late for you to go to law school.
What a compliment.
I know.
He talked himself out of a ticket riding with a comedian.
When I told my mom that story, because she would love for me to be anything other than a comedian, she was like, oh, baby, that's great. So...
Winnie.
Are you going to law school or no? Okay.
Give us a call, 888-531-7171. I'm going to read this letter from Emmy. Is there someone on the phone now? Okay. Breeze, just hang on because I do have to move along in our list of questions from the app. Maybe you'll want to weigh in on this before we speak to you, Breeze. This is from Emmy. So it's a long story, but I had this friend. And anyways, we would play... All right, this is already making me uncomfortable, but I'm going to tell you what it is because, I don't know, maybe kids can relate to this and we can talk them off a ledge. Okay, anyways, we would play dirty truth and dare stuff, and then it turned into talking about sex. We talked about it for 3 days straight, and we talked a lot with several T's. And then his parents found out because he forgot to delete the messages, and he finally just got his phone back, and he barely wants to talk to me, and I asked if he wishes he could still talk out it, and he says yeah, and then I asked if he wants to play Truth or Dare on Kick or something, so they are for sure deleted, but he never wants to, and when he starts to ignore me. I also really like this guy. What should I do? Okay, so there's several layers of wrong in this letter. She really likes the kid, and she's doing things where there's a record of it that aren't designed to get to know the person as an individual, but designed to, excite each other sexually, and that's not really the first layer of bonding. That, yes, we're all wired to be attracted to that kind of thing, but I don't know who suggested Dirty Truth or Dare, you or him, but the idea that kids are using text messaging technology to communicate in this way is when they don't yet have a relationship or a bond is, and his parents did the right thing. They took away the kid's phone, and now the kid is very freaked out, and then your way of getting back in with him, instead of just saying, how about if we just talk to each other, you still suggested the same kind of communication. And I don't want you to get too used to, this is how you get a boy's attention. I don't want you to think that that's your go-to card. I want you to learn how to talk to boys. Who has an opinion? Clinton?
Sorry, I'm chiming in so much.
Oh no, you're fantastic. Do you have your pointer?
I've got a metal pointer. I was waiting for a joke to come to my head just then, and nothing did.
Truth or Dare? If you could have a pointer or no, go ahead.
Wow.
Never mind.
Wait, how was that a truth or dare?
I work. I've worked with an after-school program in Malibu for some years now, and we've run into this issue several times with dirty texts or things of this nature. This thing you're discussing, this record of whatever, and just on a person level, it's not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. And I think that it's one of those classic cases of we know something, but we still like what it is, or are intrigued by it because of the way we're hardwired, like what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And so people kind of move forward with behavior that they know they shouldn't really participate in. But on top of that, the point you made was the best one, is that like this first level of whatever, like I would challenge this person to look at the way she relates to her friends that aren't guys.
Yeah.
Or, and like her best friend that's a girl, like, or a guy, but her best friend, not a person she's interested in. Because I think ultimately what you hear people say is like they want to love someone or be loved by someone that is a friend.
Yeah.
And so look at how those other relationships organically come about,
If you skip communication and go straight to sex, it's just a road to doom, because there's nothing to say to the person, and you haven't developed any sort of communication skills with someone that you find attractive, which is so key to holding two people together. So,
and then, like, what if you find out they're a really, really horrible, boring person that, like, has no idea?
Yeah.
So I did this one time, and I started actually talking to him, like, after I got bored, which isn't a good thing. Don't do it. But then I started talking to him, and I was like, wow, he's really not that smart. I don't like this.
But he's so hot.
He wasn't even. I mean,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
All right,
I was
we-
just bored. Don't be like me.
Before I go to
Do
you,
not
Ryan,
do it.
I'm going to ask Breeze if you have an opinion on this. Breeze, were you listening?
Yeah, well, kind of. It was
Okay.
difficult, but yeah.
Or were you texting?
Hmm?
Do you know what we were talking about, or do you want us to just ask you if you have a question for us?
So you guys were talking about the dirty truth or dare thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
over text.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Okay. So I'm kind of ashamed to say myself, but I mean, I've done it.
Don't be ashamed.
I don't recommend you do it. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't accomplish anything.
It doesn't move the relationship forward.
It doesn't. It doesn't even create a relationship. It's just complete and utter lust.
And he could be showing it to his friends, like, oh my gosh, look what she wrote me.
Wait. No, he's showing it to his friends.
No, he could.
He could
He
be,
could.
though.
I mean,
She's
once
saying
you,
that
once you
It's
create
possible.
a permanent record of something, you don't know where it's going.
Yeah, it's not cool. You shouldn't do it. I mean, like,
All right. So who else? Oh, Ryan, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was going to point out something that can apply to a lot of situations. If you know that, like, you're trying to hide it from your parents, there's something wrong about it. Like, I mean, and I know that doesn't mean that you're going to stop, but you should. But, like,
Great point.
if you're like, I should hide these messages, I should find a way to delete these, we should do these in secret, that means there's an issue with it. That means, like, it's not all right.
And then when the kid gets his phone taken away, for you to then, tempt him with the exact thing that caused the relationship to run into a ditch in the first place is, like, get to know the kid.
And that is the role reversal in this scenario
Yeah.
that I don't normally encounter. Is that the second time around she's
initiating and she's tapping
Yeah.
into her sexuality, which she knows is a powerful tool.
But
It's a dangerous tool if used improperly or imprudently. It leads to nothing, like Bree said. Go ahead,
yeah.
Kyo.
To answer the question, what should I do? If you like this guy, just say, hey, what's up? And, like, try and figure out who he is. I don't know what the background with this girl and the guy are, because it just says that they're a friend. I don't know their age or, like, how
Right.
close they are already.
Right, they just became kind of aware of
Yeah.
sex, and they went straight to it, and wrong order.
I mean, I don't know if they even have, like, physical, like, if they're, like, if they talk to each other in real life rather than just text or
Yeah,
internet.
I mean, and that's a lot lately, and I don't know if you're running into a lot of that too, Clinton, but there's a lot of kids that actually can't stand face-to-face and talk to each other, but they text each other.
They text. Well, and
Yeah.
I actually go ahead, caller.
Go ahead, Breeze.
Well, speaking of the whole, I have 2 points now, but speaking of the whole, like, guy can show his friends things, there was this email thing, this one email account that a bunch of guys had a username and password to that was, like, a bunch of guys from a bunch of guys from my school and from other schools, too.
Mm-hmm.
They all had the username and password, and whenever they would receive a naked picture or something from somebody, they would email it to themselves.
Oh, my goodness.
And anybody on that email account had access to
Oh,
it.
my gosh.
That's actually like really messed up.
Well, just proof enough that these
Yeah.
young men are not mature enough to handle this situation.
Exactly.
They're not mature, let alone like handle the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And another point on the whole texting and not being able to talk in person,
Mhm.
I believe the reason behind that is kids are just awkward.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it relieves a bunch of pressure where you can say something in text and say, oops, I didn't mean it, it was a typo, as opposed to having to think off your feet in person, you know? Like, it's just...
So at the end of the day, is it helping teenagers relate to each other, or is it blocking them from learning to relate to
Okay. It can go either way, because it can help start conversations in their life, and it can also just, I mean, excuse my language, but it could completely bullshit. You could completely bullshit your whole side of this, whatever, you know? Like, you can completely make up everything and just say, like, make yourself look not who you are.
Exactly. You know, every hand in the room is up, and I'm going to let Clinton pick somebody.
Oh, okay. Maddie, let's go.
Well, I mean, I think that what you're saying, Breeze, about how, you know, kids are kind of awkward, and I think that that kind of, like, within technology communication is actually a good thing for kids. It's just depending on the content of the communication, like dirty truth or dare, not so good. You know, but just talking and getting to know someone who you may not have had access to or you're just awkward in person is good.
Maddie, pick the next.
We'll just go down the line.
Alrighty, so I had to pull this up on my phone because I couldn't remember the exact quote, but there's a quote by Einstein that's, I fear the day technology will surpass our human interaction. And like,
I know that quote.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people use it a lot. But the point of that is like, it's all right to use technology to interact. It's when it surpasses human interaction, when you can't have a face-to-face conversation, that's the issue. That's when things start going awry. But yeah, so what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone's been saying, I feel like technology, like having to have like human interaction, you're having to learn how to do that. It's not like when you can just text someone instead, you're going to choose to do that because it's way easier and you don't have to experience you don't have to experience awkwardness or anything. So you're going to decide on doing that. But you're not going to learn how to talk to someone, really, you know.
Honestly, my motto lately has been, it's only awkward if you make it.
I love that. Put that on a pillow.
Yes,
That's
definitely.
good.
Write it over your
Speaking
bed.
of which, I have news, but...
Okay, let's see. Make her point, and then we want to hear your news.
Okay.
I was just going to say that, like, we're supposed to be awkward. Like, that's how you learn. It's not like kids are just awkward. No, it's like, that's how it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people talk to people and then you get over it.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that like texting and technology takes like everyone's going to be more awkward now, you know, and I really don't like that.
Well,
I mean, some people think awkward is cute. I don't.
Well, they might be
Not
more
all the
awkward
time,
in person,
sometimes.
but they're kind of more fluid in typing and maybe. But
But,
although
like-
I shouldn't say that because you should read some of the letters that people wrote in the 1800s. They were much better writers than we are.
They're beautiful.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
There's like I had a sociology class in college where they talked about the idea that there was a point in time where young women had better handwriting and penmanship because they played with dolls and their motor skills were fine tuned to their fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And after Atari and Nintendo came out and young men were using video games in their fingers, their handwriting on average got better. And so it's like there's a certain amount in which our brain is connected to our hands and our arms, and all this works together, and it's a convenience thing. But much like Einstein said, if it surpasses our ability to be able to relate to each other in person, which is essential to human life, like you guys all said it brilliantly. Basically, if you have to write LOL, but you can't actually laugh out loud, there's a huge problem.
Well, and the other thing that
Well, let Breeze
Okay.
ask her question, then we can let her jump off the phone. Go ahead, Breeze.
Okay, So remember how I asked you guys about getting the guy's number?
Yes.
He asked me out at the end of spring break.
You
yeah,
go, girl.
snappity snap, snap, snap.
We've been staying for 2 weeks.
Oh, congratulations.
Is he good
And-
or boring?
And I went on my first date Saturday.
You went on your first real grown-up date?
Yeah.
Where'd you guys go?
We went to the movies. I mean, but it was fun.
What movie?
That's cute.
Did you
But
see-
I have an issue.
Okay.
Oh dear.
So I haven't had my first kiss yet.
Okay.
And
There's time for that.
I'm one of those awkward people in person because I'm completely not awkward on the internet at all. I'm just really awkward in person.
No, you're very good on the internet.
Yeah. So I just want to know how you get over the original scared feeling.
You don't.
The whole.
You don't get over it. You're scared, he's scared, and you stumble through it, and then you laugh.
And
if
that's-
you have a good relationship, you can laugh. Go
That's
ahead,
what
Clinton.
makes it amazing.
Yeah.
That's why people talk about their first kiss. When you look back at that fear and like that adrenaline coursing through your veins and all that thing that's going to happen, that's what makes it. What you're describing is just life, and it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. And how could the idea of two people getting close enough to actually touch lips not be awkward?
Right.
If one of them is a robot, perhaps, but it's two human beings. It's supposed to be awkward. Ryan?
I lost it.
All right, Patty?
And I mean, if you think about it, you can't really just skip to your second kiss. That's not it doesn't work that way.
Put that on a pillow.
Seriously, you and Einstein.
Oh yeah, thank you. I actually am Einstein. You guys can't tell.
Do you have a crush on him?
No. It's just like I was reincarnated.
Oh,
Can
you
you guys
are.
imagine?
Oh,
Can you
okay,
imagine
Al.
kissing
You
Einstein?
can call her Al.
I can.
All that mustache.
Well, that one picture with his tongue out, no.
Yeah, but it's gonna be awkward and just kind of because you'll never have your first kiss again. So
Closer to the mic, Maddie
make
girl.
sure.
All right, Breeze, jump off the phone.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
And you know what? Do not rush it.
Yeah.
It will happen when it's supposed
Wait,
to
I
happen.
remembered what I was going to say. Breeze,
Yeah.
if you're still there, I was just going to say,
She's listening.
all right, it's awkward, but sometimes I think that if you tell him that, he's going to think it's cute and he'd be happy to show you how
Exactly.
if he's done it, he'd be happy to show you.
You have to acknowledge what is, and then you don't use the word awkward. Just say, I'm nervous. Hold me. Kyo.
The most you have to fear of is awkwardness, which isn't that bad. He's not going to be like, what are you doing? You don't know how to do this already? What's your problem?
Yeah. I learned how to kiss when I was 11.
Yeah.
Baby.
I already knew already before.
He likes you.
Yeah,
He wants
so-
to be your first kiss. He doesn't want to picture some other dude having kissed
Yeah.
you. There's nothing embarrassing about being new at something. I want to read this letter. We are Our Place Out Loud. I'm Louise Planker. This letter is a little bit disturbing, and I want to get your take on it. Hey, Weezy, I asked this before to Jenny on the crushes section. I just wanted to hear your opinion, please. I'm in 7th grade. I found out I have a crush on a 4th grader girl. I am so embarrassed to say it. I know I can't do anything because she is way younger than me, and she has older sisters in middle school. I didn't mean anything wrong, and I feel ashamed and guilty because it's kind of pedophily-ish, and I really want to get over it and forget it, but I can't because she's my crush, and I just like her. I didn't mean anything wrong. Thanks. So he's feeling the guilt that he should feel about having a crush on a 4th grader, and it sounds like he's not going to act on his crush, but should we be concerned that a 7th grade boy who has a crush on a 4th grade might be stuck at having feelings for children when that really is a dangerous thing? So I answered the question very carefully in the app, and I said, you do have to not do anything about this crush, and then hopefully as you grow older, your crushes will mature with you. If they don't, you need to speak to a therapist. And then a lot of other kids wrote, what do you mean it could be a problem? What do you mean? What's wrong? And I mean, he says the word pedophile in his question, so he understands what's dangerous about having a crush on a 4th grader. Let's go to Keo first.
I think he understands the situation, and I don't think he's gonna do anything dangerous. And I really think that it might just be a one-time thing, that it's not like he's gonna grow into some pedophile or something. And I wouldn't say, I don't know, it's hard to say that he needs to feel guilt for what he's feeling, but he definitely knows that it's not okay, which I think is correct. Like,
well, one of the things that I wrote in my answer to him is that we don't ever need to feel guilty about feelings, or feelings are feelings, but it's behaviors that we can control. We really can't control feelings. So I don't know, what exactly is causing him to have a romantic feeling for a fourth grader, but he can control his behaviors. And Maddie.
I mean, it really does sound like he knows that, acting on his feelings would not be appropriate. But, I mean, if you look at it, like, if they grew up and they were, like, in their 40s, that's only three, is it 3 or 4 years? Three.
Maybe
three.
4 years, but
maybe 4, depending on
adults
when the
are all
birthdays
the same size.
Right,
and, like,
exactly.
fourth graders are little, and eighth graders.
Right. So right now, it's not a decision to act on, but, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's not appropriate now. But,
Right.
I mean, guilt... It's kind of like questionable about guilt, because I mean, I don't think you should feel guilty unless you act on what you're feeling. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, yes.
Ryan?
Ryan?
No, I'm just going to second you on that one. I don't think there's a feeling in the world that's wrong. I think it's what you do with your feelings that can be wrong. And I think it's reasonable to feel anything, no matter how extreme or weird it is. That's what feelings are for. They're within us. And when you express them, that's not wrong. When you do something, that's when it gets to be wrong. And
Right, but wouldn't you say, though, that if he gets to be in 9th grade, 10th grade, 12th grade, and he's still attracted to fourth graders, that he needs to go see a therapist?
There's a problem, but he's not wrong in having those feelings. There's an issue
he
that
has
needs
to
to
go
be solved.
talk about it.
That, yes, I
that
agree
would
with
be
that.
a good idea, yes.
Okay. Do we have a caller?
Yes. Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer.
Hello, Mrs. Jordan. So I want to ask you a question. Where's the Jordan part? I understand the Chris Colfer part, but where's the Jordan part come for your screen name?
My name.
Oh, okay.
Good answer.
I even knew that one.
All right. So you've got towels picked out and everything. You're ready to go with Chris Colfer. You've got the monogram. You're good. Did you want to say something about the question, or did you have a question of your own?
About the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so he's in 7th grade, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the girl's in 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay.
3 years apart, I guess.
She's way too young, in my opinion, first of all, and I think if she gets a little bit older and he still likes her that way, then maybe he should ask her, but maybe not till then.
But how much older? Because I'm thinking, like, past 18.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a 3-year age gap.
That's a long time.
No, she's got to be past 18.
Yeah.
She's got to be past 18.
Not
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them past 18, I'd say. 3 years.
Yeah.
Even so if you're saying if maybe Justin was thinking maybe if she's 16 or 15 that he could date her, but
That's still pushing it a little bit. 16 and 19, 15 and 18. I mean,
yeah.
like I know people who are dating who are 16 and 18, but I don't know anyone out further outside of that.
So the question is like just the fact that it's so young of a fourth grade. They're the 9. I mean, that's a little kid.
Well,
that's the part that
I
find a little bit worrisome.
I agree with you, but the other thing is like I think sometimes we got to recognize when you're in 7th grade.
You're not that old anyway.
No, you're not that old anyway. You don't even always know what liking someone is. Sometimes you're like, oh, they have nice hair and they're funny. I'm in love with you. Like that's not what There's you don't know it until you finally have it, and sometimes you think you do and you don't.
Yeah.
So I think there's also a possibility here that it's just too early to say.
And
anything.
I've seen some 4th and 5th graders that almost look like 8th graders. If they're they're tall and they have a mature personality. Maddie.
And I mean, I think what you brought up is that, I think that there's a difference between him liking someone who's 3 years younger than him as he grows older and him continually liking girls in 4th grade.
Yes, that was my concern.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyo.
Just to say, there's also 7th graders that look like elementary kids.
That is true.
Oh my god. Okay. The 6th graders.
Wait, you're turning into CO. It's weird.
I'm sorry. Okay. The 6th graders in my school, they are so tiny and they're like adorable. They look like they're like
pocket
2nd
people.
grade.
Yeah.
They're so cute. Literally, one of them was standing next to me and he was like waist height. And I was like, "You are so small." They're
Did you say it was waist height?
They don't even have a gender. They're so little.
In 7th grade, I just came from soccer practice.
Yes.
And went to Subway. The guy asked me, "Are you in high school?"
Really?
No.
Yeah.
I got told I was
No.
19.
Well, how old
the
are
other
you?
day.
Well, can you say how old you are? Oh, you got someone thought you were 19, Maddie?
Okay,
Yes.
I took my dog to the vet, and the guy was like, "Yeah, so if you just fill out the papers and give me your credit card," and I was like, "How old do you think I am?" And he goes, 19, right? 19 or 20, and I'm like, "No, no."
That means
no,
you're probably going to look
Somebody-
pretty much this age for like the next 17 years.
Okay.
Jake.
Steve Martin effect.
I'm 14.
I just
by
want
the
to point
way.
out the fact
You're
that
14.
Weezy called fourth graders pocket people. You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm sorry, fourth graders. I know we have some 9-year-olds in the
Wait.
app, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean it personally, but you're just adorable. Go ahead.
My friend's mom, he was on a train with her this one time, but like they were sitting a couple rows apart, and like some like 21-year-old guy came up to my friend, and he was like, "Hey, so how old's your sister?" And he's like, "That's my mom." And he's,
Oh.
and I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, she's 54."
Oh,
Age and the way people look is a bizarre thing.
It really is.
Because
Yeah.
I as an actor I get cast a lot, like young for,
Right.
for what I am. I'm 32 years old, but I get cast at
But
20,
you have baby
21
soft skin.
21 to 23, like when I don't have the beard.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, when I first moved out to LA, I was 24, 25, and I played high schoolers.
There's something about gingers where they always look 15.
It's because we're terrified of the sun.
First you call them pocket people, now you're making up ginger stuff.
I'm
I mean,
offending
like,
everybody tonight. It's my calling. Go ahead, Sio.
Okay, so I was in dance class one time, and I don't know, like, these kids were kind of young. They were kind of like 13, 10, 14, 11. They thought, I swear, this made me so mad. They thought I was 13. I was 17. It's like, how are you going to confuse that? Like, do I really look? My hair was in a bun. That's about it.
Well, and I know that this means nothing to you guys, but they're 13 to 17. When you're older, the difference in those ages, the 4 years, the 5 years, the 3 years, the 2 years, all those things, it's just nothing.
Okay,
You
we're going to
think I
get
look
one
like a
quick
13?
question in before the end of the show. Captain Killjoy writes, today these guys on the bus shot a spitball onto my backpack. I turned around to shake it off, and they freaked out because my pants had fallen down a bit, and they could see a little bit of my underwear. How should I handle this? Maddie.
I have a question. Is it a boy or a girl? who's
Probably a
writing this?
girl. Probably. Would people freak out if they saw a little bit of Justin Bieber's underwear? Well, yes.
Well,
I feel like
yes,
stadiums
but
of
I
people
feel like
do,
we've seen
but-
too much, to be
different
honest.
reasons.
Nah, he looks like a 12-year-old.
But let's imagine it's a girl.
I think.
That's a good question.
I mean, sometimes they're going to see a little bit of underwear. They're going to see a bra strap. Let them freak
well,
out.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
ignore it.
It's like, do they?
You didn't do it on
you
purpose.
know, everybody pretty much knows everybody wears underwear.
Yes.
That's a general knowledge.
True fact. True
You
fact.
know, so it's if
Jakey?
you see it.
I like the fact that she used the term freaking out, because
Mhm.
in my reading of this the first time, I thought they literally were just scared out of their mind and trying to get off the bus as fast as
that would
possible.
be me.
Clinton.
Oh
That's
no,
the whole
I
statement.
I think you make a valid point. Just first of all, people freak out because we allow them to freak out.
Yeah.
And also, like, people want to get a rise out of you, and that's going to happen for the rest of your life. Like, it's called like ribbing. Someone's,
And Jake taught me something really good. You say yes and. Like,
Oh,
I saw your
improv.
underwear. You did. And.
Oh, yeah, he does do that to me.
Is there a point?
Not, I don't say I saw your underwear, but I say stuff to him. He's like, and I'm like,
Keo?
that's it.
Okay, some people just really like to make a big deal of things.
Right.
Like, for example, when I was in middle school, I played the cello and I didn't have my own cello, so I had to carry my cello back and forth, and it didn't have wheels, so I wore it on my backpack, like a backpack. And for some reason, one of my friends thought it was hilarious that I had to carry my cello around.
It kind of is.
It is kind of funny for some reason. I don't know why.
But
it
he
is
was,
kind of
but
funny.
like, you don't understand. He tried to like, he laughs. He's really good at laughing for whatever reason. Like, he would laugh nonstop. Like, I would walk with him from school to home
That's
or
so
to my
annoying.
street, and he would laugh the entire time.
That's like
So annoying.
when Jake and I, whenever we go and we ride over to the mall by his house, I ride this big scooter that he has, and it's like 20 pounds, and he for some reason thinks bike locks are not an item, like they just don't exist. So he makes me carry it, and it doesn't fold up. He makes me carry it on my shoulders through the mall, right? And so all these people are staring at me laughing, and I'm like, you know what, Jake? You know what?
It's honestly just so that people will stare at you and laugh.
Excellent.
Jake's using you as like a pawn.
Clinton Pickens, what is your middle name?
It's Forrest.
Do your parents love you?
Apparently, they think I'm a Civil War general because
In Forest.
That's the best name ever. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for
Place
having
Out
me.
Loud. We would love to have you back anytime. And I want to thank the panel and the caller. I get to thank the caller live on the air. Thank you for calling, and we will see you next week on Our Place Out Loud. Bye-bye.
It's coming back.